everybody, welcome back to another one of my videos. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Freyleyce. Today we have another really fun recommendation video because that's all I seem to be able to film. Like when I think of filming ideas, it's recommendation videos that come to mind first, which is a bit of an issue because I need to space my content out, but I couldn't resist doing another recommendation video for you guys because this is one of my favorite videos to watch. I think that you guys are gonna really love these recommendations. You clicked on this video, you already know the recommendations I'm gonna be giving you, but I wanted to clarify before we get into these spicy and smutty book recs what my definition of spicy smutty is. So to me, spicy is a perfect balance of kinky and steamy. It's got a bit of both, smutty as well. It's just really good sex scenes in books. It might be a large amount of the book itself, like there's plot, but there's not too much, you know? It is a lot of spiciness, a lot of smuttiness, and there's a little bit of plot to balance it out, but the most memorable thing, I guess, from the book was the smut, the spice, the goodness there. And I love a book like that. I love a book like that. Those are the recommendations I'm going to be giving you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go. First up, I actually have two from Chantal Tessier. The first one we're going to go with is The Ritual. And if you're looking for a dark, smutty, spicy, gritty, and messy read, I highly recommend both of Chantal Tessier's dark college romances because they are just that. They're really dark and pretty twisted. They are really messy and gritty in a way that the plot isn't impeccably perfect. It's just really fucked up, really steamy, and it's just a roller coaster, and that's why you're there. You're not quite there for the plot. I love books like that, and so these two are two of my favorites if you love that kind of vibe in a book. So this follows Riot and Blakely. Riot is part of their college's like secret society cult type of shit, you know? And so he has to pick a chosen one, which is basically his wife, his for the rest of his life, basically. And so Blakely is chosen for him, and he kind of chooses her at the same time. And they don't actually really like each other, like at all. They come across each other on campus, and they're like, no, we don't blend. But obviously they get chosen, they have to be together. And Blakely especially is not really on board with it at first. She's like, I don't want to do this. You forced me into this, but I don't want to be here. So there is some dub con in this. It might be non-con. I might be incorrect there. Definitely some at the beginning, but then once Blakely realizes that she might have some feelings for Riot, and this is a world she could see herself in, they are like the perfect power couple. And there's a lot of secret society vibes, like I said. There's a lot of cult stuff. There's a lot of twists and turns within the secret society of the lords. That's what they're called. But like I said, the plot isn't impeccable, and it's pretty just dark, gritty, twisted, messed up. You know, you get the vibe I'm trying to say. So it is really steamy. It is really smutty. There's some dub con, there's breath play, there's knife play. The list goes on, I think. The most memorable ones are the blood and knife play, though. There's a lot of primal play as well. They are just really like raw and gritty with each other. But like I said, no going into this that it's not impeccable, it's not perfect. It's just a fun ass ride of spiciness and smuttiness. The next one, also by Chantal Tessier, is Sabotage. This one is a little bit different, but also a little bit the same. It's a dark college romance, gritty, messy, basically the same in that way, but it is a different relationship. So this follows Colt and Rayleigh. They're actually step siblings, but they've been messing around with each other, I guess, for like, I think years by the time we're jumping into the book. And so we're kind of thrown in the middle of it. It wasn't too confusing though, like you do see the flashbacks of it and how they got from A to B. But yeah, they mess around with each other. Rayleigh actually has a few boyfriends in the time of this, so there is cheating. I didn't mind it. But she knows that those guys can't give her what Colton gives her. There's a lot of heavy degradation in this book, and it has a little bit less plot than The Ritual does, but it also ties into The Ritual, and we get to see Riot in here, just a peek, but still we get to see him, and it was so good. And so some secret society vibes, but not as much as The Ritual. But yeah, heavy degradation in this one. That is the biggest one, I think, in here. It is super steamy, and it is super smutty, and pretty spicy with the degradation, and there's also some other things in there, but the degradation is like major and the most memorable one for me. So yeah, I highly recommend these two just for the roller coaster that they were. And the next one is Debt by Nina G. Jones. I read this one at the beginning of the year. I think it was actually my first read of 2022, and it went off with a bang. So instantly, as soon as you get into the book, you're dumped in the world of Mia and Tax. Yes, his name is actually Tax. I just imagined it as Dax. So it was good. But yeah, his name is Tax. There's a reason for it, but pretty weird. Mia's friend hires somebody to basically consensually rape her, kind of. So it's basically a rape fantasy, which I was not big on. I was like, this is not for me, and it's not really something I wanted to read. But then I hung on for a little bit and it was so good. So yeah, she like applies for it and the guy doesn't like schedule a time to come, so it's truly like a fantasy and you don't even know if it's happening. And so she thinks the guy came and they obviously have sex, but she doesn't realize that it wasn't the guy she hired and it was actually Tex. So there is revenge plot in this one. He takes over her entire life and becomes her new boss and is just trying to control every aspect of her life. This is also a stalker romance as well. And so instantly you're thrown into like a sex scene. So it's super spicy the entire book. And yeah, the tension was so good, but it didn't go on for too long that it made the book not smutty, you know? A perfect balance. Tex is just like touch her and I kill you, possessive. He's all of that and more. Just hang on for that first like 15% though, because this is so good. But obviously this is a smutty and spicy book recommendation, so I'm gonna tell you what the main kinks kind of are in this one. Obviously it's a lot of primal play, it is super rough, and if I remember correctly, breath play as well, and then obviously the consensual non-consent, but there's not too many like breath play, knife play, shit like that. It's just really rough. And the next one is a fucking classic. I had to recommend this one even though I recommended it before. I don't give a fuck. That is The Cat and Mouse Duet by H.D. Carlton. This one I read when it first came out and it was so fucking good, and I was so mad that the second one didn't come out till January, but y'all don't have to have that problem if you read it now because the two books are out. Also a stalker romance. So this follows Zaid and Addie. Addie is a writer and an author. She goes to live in her grandma's old house, fix it up, you know, move in and get her writing flow back. But she starts hearing things, she starts seeing things, she starts realizing she has a stalker, which obviously turns out to be Zaid. Zaid works to take down a sex trafficking ring in their area, and he has his eyes set on Addie and he will get her. And there's also an underlying plot of this where Addie finds a letter from her grandmother's diary when she's cleaning out the house and follows the story of her grandmother and her grandmother's stalker like multiple years ago. And it's so well written because you get to see the storyline of both of them. Like I said, this one is a duet. They're both pretty thick books, so it is pretty long, and in the second one she actually gets kidnapped and he has to bring her back. That's why it's called Hunting Adeline. Get it? I just love this one so much. It's actually gonna be on my shelves in just a bit and I'm so excited. This is like one of the best dark romances I've ever read and I will never stop recommending it. And it's super spicy and it's really smutty. Zaid is like super hot. The main spicy parts of this would be consensual non-consent, gunplay, weapon play? I don't know, I think it's gunplay. And those are the ones that I can think of first, but I feel like there must be more. This was super smutty, super spicy, and perfect for this video. The Dark Eyes Duet by Karina Howe. Babe, this is just spice. This one is also paranormal, so there's an element to that that can be confusing at times. As a mainly non-paranormal reader, like mainly just romance for me, I wasn't too confused in this, so you can totally read it if you just mainly read romance, but know that it does have an added element, and I mean added element, if you know what I mean. So this follows Lenore and Absalon, or Salon. Lenore actually thinks she's a human until she realizes she ain't a human and her whole life is basically a lie. So she has to go through like the transition to becoming a vampire, and obviously her and Absalon have a relationship. Hang with me for that name, okay? I know names can be a really big turnoff for books like this, but you know, he makes up for it, okay? He really makes up for it. So yeah, basically Absalon helps her transition along with a few friends, and then she lives with him and his few friends in a haunted, invisible house in LA, and it's so cool. They also go across to like the dark side, and they have a a vampire sex club too in their basement, and it's so fun. It is a duet, and the book one, I believe, ends on a cliffhanger, and Absalon also kind of betrays her and he has to grovel and win back her love, and it is so good, and it's heavily steamy, like so fucking steamy. This one is also perfect for Halloween and spooky season, which I think you're learning a lot of the books that I read are. That's just my vibe. I love the gothic vibes. So the main spicy parts from this that I remember, obviously it's a vampire romance, blood play, huge one, and just overall general spiciness. Absalon also has the ability to transform into something else. Yeah, and so there's also that part. He transforms into like another beast kind of, and yeah, it was super good. There's just a lot of like rough sex, and there's a big connection between them, and it is so beautiful. I mean, it's a vampire romance. It's really beautiful. It's a vampire romance. These last two duets I love with my entire heart. I totally recommend them if you're looking for a great balance of smutty and spicy, but with some plot as well. So the last book recommendation for today's video is Lilac by BB Reed. This one I could not recommend just because basically the entire focus of this book is smut and spice. Like, that is it. It is reverse harem as well. One of the only reverse harems I'd actually recommend. It is Rockstar Romance 2, so it follows Braxton and the three guys, Houston, Lauren, and Jericho. Their band member dies and they need a replacement, so Braxton fills in, and at first they fucking hate her because she's a girl and they wanted a guy in their band, but the label forces them together and they have to go on tour for like 8 months, I think it is. You know, tensions arise, the spiciness is there, and that's basically the book because it is super smutty, it is super spicy. There is some underlying plot, but not a lot. It's a pretty long book too, so a lot of people have some opinions on that, but I love it a lot. I love the cover, I love everything, super spicy. It's reverse harem, and two of the guys are also into each other, and I love that. There's some public play, there's just overall spiciness, praise kink, like, you got it all. So that is all the books I'm going to be recommending in today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps me out. And if you want to see a steamy addition to this video where it's more steamy, less kinky, you know, then let me know down in the comments and I'll make that happen for y'all. I'll see you in my next video very soon.